going on? We're just going to have to leave it and hope it don't fall over. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Now, we're in another lockdown, aren't we? If you're watching this in the UK, then we are. I have no idea what the rest of the world is doing actually. Have you realised that at the start of all of this pandemic stuff, the news was constantly documenting about how much the rest of the world was suffering from it, and now we only hear about us. I actually have no idea how the other countries are doing. So if you're in another country, I hope you're all okay. If you are in the UK, then you would know we have gone into another national lockdown. Now, of course, you're probably going to experience so many different emotions during this time, and when Bojo announced it, it was even I have recently gone self-employed, so I was a little bit anxious because if anything ever happens to my business, then I'm not entitled to any help, but I think I'll be okay. But I was a little bit anxious about that, and then I was a bit like, actually, I'm safe, I'm well. Keeps the NHS like, it's okay, isn't it? Now, I realised that actually for a lot of people it's quite anxious, especially if you're trying to get your period back. So I wanted to share with you a bit of my story about how I got my period back in the last national lockdown, and why I think actually this lockdown could be really, really beneficial to your HA recovery and getting your period back. Now, I know it's a very anxious situation, and I need to do a disclaimer that I am coming from a very privileged position. I am fortunate that I haven't gone through any redundancies, and no one close to me has got it severely or anything like that. So I appreciate that there is a lot worse situations for people, and I do always encourage, if you're going through HA, then make sure you get some professional advice. I personally worked with Reenie McGregor, but I'm sure... No, there definitely are plenty of other professionals that are able to help you as well if you are going through that, and also protect your mental health, right? I'll try and share some links down below. But if, similar to me, you're actually in quite a fortunate position in the sense that the pandemic hasn't affected you too much directly, and you are looking to get your period back, then this actually could be a really, really, really good time. I personally am very, very thankful to the first ever lockdown, because I think the fact that I was taken from a world that I knew that clearly wasn't working for me in the sense of overtraining and undereating, and plonked into a different one that was kind of all about me because I was at home, that really enabled me to recover. So a little background, I was going to the gym still quite a bit. I couldn't really let that go. I was trying to eat more, but I definitely wasn't fueling properly, and there was definitely still an element of restriction and scared around food. Whereas now, and then the first lockdown was announced, and I was like, okay, shit. And I was just suddenly in my home 24/7 working from home, and suddenly it was like, I'm never gonna see people, dramatic, but I'm not gonna see people for a while. So how I look in terms of if I gain weight doesn't really matter, because to me, I don't think being skinny to me and maintaining my weight loss was all about how other people saw me rather than how I viewed myself. So my kind of restriction mind was quite logical in the sense of okay, well, people won't judge me because if I gain weight, then it's fine. Which, if you are in that state, that's not necessarily just to say, as you go through the recovery stage, you'll get to the stage that you don't care, but that's for another video. But my mental state at that time was okay, well, no one's going to see me for a while, so that's okay. And also, because you're at home, you're not having to wear jeans and dresses or whatever you like to wear. You can wear leggings and baggy stuff. So if things get tighter, then it doesn't really matter. And another thing as well, in the first lockdown, by the time we were coming out, we were in a completely different season. So I had gained weight, but it didn't really matter because I wasn't trying to squeeze into my other clothes, because it was 3 months on, it was time for summer. So I was like, okay, well, I'll buy a new wardrobe, and I was happy to invest it. But also all the other clothes, I had the time because I was in lockdown to sell them. So it didn't feel as if I feel like sometimes to recover, you do need to be taken out of everything you've known and plonked into something new to be able to give yourself the time to just focus on you. And when you're at home and you don't have the stresses of the outside world of like everyday life, if you like, you are able to do that. Then you have the other thing of being put into a completely different life, in the sense of the gyms are shut, so I couldn't go to the gym, and we were only allowed one exercise a day, which this lockdown is slightly different. I don't think there's a 1 hour exercise rule, but there is you're only allowed outside to exercise. Now, I will quickly make a big point here that you will probably need to be very conscious of how much you are still moving, because it can be very, very anxious, the fact that you're in all day. And I appreciate that some of you may be worried that you won't burn anything and you shouldn't eat and stuff like that. I appreciate that some of you might be in that mindset, but try to have the mindset of this is an opportunity to work on you and to really dive into your recovery, rather than diving into that jumping all on like how many 17,000 workouts a day and 50,000 steps a day, that kind of thing. Really try to go into it with the mindset of I'm changing now, and I think that will really, really help. That will also, if you can really work on your mindset and really focus on recovery, like recovery is now, you decide now, recovery is now, say it one more time, then it kind of helps stop being sucked down that whole like home workout. Also, working from home, I was able to try different workouts. I still stayed active. If you followed my journey, you'll know that I never actually quit any exercise. I just dialed it right back. So I did a lot more yoga. Yoga is always something that I absolutely love. And Travis Elliott was a great one. My friend was doing Zoom workouts, and there's loads of great YouTubers that are doing YouTube. And it was just an opportunity for me to feel like I was still moving my body, to give me something to do, but to really slow down and reset. And I treated that like that was a workout. Where was I going with this? But I reduced all the intensity from being in the gym. Now, we know, or if you don't know, when you're recovering from HA, you should really avoid HIIT and really high intensity workouts. So really try to make sure that if you are wanting to work out during this lockdown, you are using this as an opportunity for restorative. As I said before, like that mindset of like, yes, I can do recovery now. I'm going to focus on it because I'm going to do me. While at home as well, I also found that I had more time to focus on things like meditation and journaling, which really helped. It really helped me like just get all of those words out. And as well, it was cooking. I found when I was in like the office all the time that I would prep my meals, or I would just take leftover dinner for lunch, which a lot of the time, I lived alone, so it wasn't 2 portions, it was just like 1 portion split into half really. Whereas now at home, I can eat when I want, whether that's mental hunger or physical hunger. I can make sure I'm eating 3 to 4 times a day, because sometimes when you're in the office, you're going into meetings and stuff like that. When you're home a little bit more, you can have the snacks, you can make sure you've got it all in, and you can cook from scratch to make sure you are getting really good carb sources in. If you are obviously still out and about working, if you're a key worker, thank you for a start, but it's just about being that prepared. And because you're not like going out and socializing with friends, maybe you can use the time that you are at home to really take a bit more time on your cooking, and like making sure that your packed lunches that you take, for example, are really, really nutritious and filling. And another thing as well is because you're at home a little bit more, you can really focus on your like sleep hygiene. So like making sure you are like getting to bed at a proper time and getting up at a proper time. I think that a lot of my recovery was helped because I was sleeping a lot. I was actually giving myself the time to be able to rest, rather than forcing myself to stay up and then get up really early, and I have lost the train of thought. But yeah, I'd say those are my reasons why I think we could use this lockdown to really help us with recovery. As I said earlier, it's just that summing up of like you're taken from a life of what what you once knew and put into a completely new life. So this could be potentially a bit like the new year, right? This could be potentially a great new start with no outside distractions like socializing and things like that, for you to just really focus on yourself and your self-development. You know, read a little bit more and stop scrolling as much, unless you're scrolling people that are actually going to benefit you. And yeah, that's how I think we could use this lockdown as beneficial. If you are going through this journey and you do need someone to chat to, then my DMs on Instagram are always open, and feel free to slide in. I will respond to you. Just sometimes I won't get around to it straight away, but I will respond to you. And if you like this video, please like and consider subscribing to my channel, because it helps get more, you know, my message out to more people. Yeah, see you in my next one. Bye.